Hello out there, I'm the oldest nerd. Today we're talking about Doctor Who, and this is a very fresh approach when you think about it. They are not going back in history, they're only going back to about 2019, but to Lagos, Nigeria, where the Doctor had some adventure earlier, found this barber shop where everybody could sit around and chat, and he didn't feel out of place, not just because he's black, but as being a completely different being from a human. He never really found a place to where he wasn't someone that did not fit in. And in this barbershop environment, he found a group of people who were interesting to talk to and really didn't question too much about who he was or what he did. And so he was going back here as kind of a side trip from taking a vector reading. And Belinda says, "Go on, I'll stay here in the TARDIS." And then the adventure begins. And what we see here at first seems like that we're encountering another Time Lord, because the barbershop, while it's not bigger on the inside than it is on the outside, does appear to be traveling. And it has an engine that is powered by people's stories. Now, this is kind of and we should mention right here that this is at least the second time that they've broken the fourth wall, in that they had a window. As they're telling the stories, this window illustrates it for them. And in this case, when someone was talking about his encounter with the Doctor, it happens in the window, which is the opening credits of the show. And so once again, we get kind of an admission that the reality is that Doctor Who is a show that people are watching. Now, of course, we had this in Lux, and we have it again here. And if we go to the end of this season where they talk about the reality war, I have a feeling that these little things that have popped up in here are going to be significant. And we won't go too much into the story here, except that the adversary this time is not necessarily evil, but someone who is not a god, as they have encountered before with the god of games, the god of death, the god of light, but rather someone whose job it was to collect their stories and publish them and spread them throughout the world so that people remembered them. And he's disgruntled at this point and has decided to go into business for himself, and is using other people's stories in order to power the engine on this multidimensional barbershop that he's acquired from the owner that the Doctor knew. And so as he tries to cover up what he's really doing and who he really is, the Doctor is able to see through it. Now, how we get through it doesn't matter, but the idea that stories are what holds us together is something that we've been taught for a long time. Dreams can become reality, reality can become dreams. And we tell each other stories so that we can live. We are a people who need stories to be told in order for us to learn. We can't just say, this is a fact and move on. It works better if you can encase it in a story. This happened to me one time. This happened to someone one time. This is the moral of the story. All of these things are part of storytelling, and it's another rather meta element in that what they're talking about is the most important thing in the world is stories, which I don't disagree with. And of course, in order to maintain their world, they have to have stories. In order for Doctor Who to continue, they have to have stories and new stories. And this is as new a story as it gets. And we see something that does not really talk about history. It does not take on really any big issues, but just the idea that stories are important, and that if you were to destroy all our stories, you would destroy us. I think that it is a very interesting take on that whole idea. and it is well acted. The barbershop meme has been used before in theater and in movies in order to provide kind of a place where stories are told, where conversation takes place, because there's not much else that you can do while you're waiting your turn. And even when you're in the chair, stories are what you tell in order to while away the time while other more important things are going on. So that's where this comes from, and it's very well executed. The acting is all very well done, and just at the time that we think that Belinda really is not going to have much of a part in this story, she becomes the most important part of it. This is the nature of what makes the Doctor brave, is that he has someone to represent, to put up on a pedestal, if you will, as he does the entire human race. This has gone back through generations, regenerations of doctors, in that the human race is such an incredible thing. They'll always survive. And perhaps they'll always survive because they have their stories. So I'd like to know what you think about this. We did see Mrs. Flood. She was in one of the stories, and that's kind of interesting. In the story that the Doctor tells about Belinda, when he first encounters her, Mrs. Flood walks through. And since it makes no sense for her to be in Nigeria or any place else like that, she was not in the main part of the story, but rather was in a story within the story. So they're keeping that going, and somehow I'm beginning to think that a lot of this meta element is going to tie together, and I imagine that's going to happen about 3 episodes down the road. So I'd like to know what you think about it. Please put it in the comments below, and of course stick with us. We're running a little late because Mother's Day was here, and so we normally tape this on a Sunday, so this is getting a little bit later, but we will have tomorrow we'll have The Last of Us as well, and a review on that. And of course later in the week we'll have the last 3 episodes of Andor, and if that's as good as it was this last week, I think it's going to be really something. So we hope that you'll stay tuned for all of that, and until we meet next time, don't go far.